Alright, so now that we've looked at a few different tracks, relatively in depth, we're going to move past the analysis side of things and move more into the practical side of things in preparation for the track we're going to produce. So to start with, we're going to be looking at a few different workflows, and these are ways you can work with structure to develop a more effective, these are ways you can work with structure and develop a more effective production workflow. And it's important to note that some of these may help you finish tracks easier, get ideas done quicker, and have more fun producing, which is the most important thing of all. So, they're all worth trying out. Some work better for other people, and you might even be using some of them already. The first one I want to showcase is the building blocks technique, and this is quite uncommon, especially in dance music. And it's somewhat unorthodox, but it works well given the capabilities of modern digital audio workstations. So what you're basically doing is creating the individual parts for each song and then arranging them. So for example, I might start with, say, the chorus loop. So I'll loop a section in the arrangement view, and I'll add in a few things. So I might add in some drums, some bass, and of course my main idea. It's an audio track, which is why it's not working. So I have a few things going on, maybe even a vocal. And this will be my chorus, and I can even add a tag to this if I wanted to, for example, chorus. It's got a chorus there, and then let's add a marker there. Chorus loop, lay some stuff down. Then I might create the verse, create it over here. So it's just building these parts separately. And this I might have, again, a vocal. It'll be a verse vocal. Obviously I won't have the main idea, I'll just have a chord progression with another instrument. And then I might sort of flesh out the bridge. So I'll do that over here. In this part, I'm only going to have a piano going on. So piano. Color that differently as well. And I might have a vocal. And then, I've got all these parts. I've got a bridge, I've got a verse, I've got a chorus. All the main parts that you need. And then what I might do, I've got 3 8-bar loops. I'll move on to structuring and arranging them. So, I might start by moving them out of the way. So all the way over here. Just wait for Ableton to cooperate. So let's say 3.5 minutes out. Then I'll start dragging them over. So, I might say I want to start with a verse. But on an intro first, I'll drag these markers out of the way too. So I want a verse at bar 17. And I want that to go for 16 bars. Before that, I want an intro, which is just going to be drums. And that's cool. And then what I want to do is move into the chorus, which is this. So I'm going to copy, I'm going to paste that, and it'll go for 16 bars too. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to go back into that verse again. In fact, it's just going to repeat itself. And then we're going to have a bridge, piano and vocal, which will go for 16 bars. And then we're just going to have the chorus again. Now I can delete this because I'm not going to have another verse. So I'm just going to have a chorus for 24 bars this time. And then an outro with just drums. So that's the building blocks technique. Pretty straightforward. Now, in terms of pros and cons, that's what I want to cover. So A good thing about using this workflow is that it helps you focus on composition first and foremost. You don't get stuck into the arrangement and the structure. You don't get anxious because of it. It makes you focus on the individual parts and the most important parts of the song instead of thinking, well, I need to work on my intro, I need to work on my outro, I need to work on these little bits. No, you start with the verse, you start with the chorus, just the main stuff. It can also be a good way to create variation and interest in your song. Often when you start with, say you're using the subtractive method, and you start with just an 8-bar loop, that's your chorus, and then copy it out, and then make edits. Your song can become quite repetitive and boring. So using the building blocks technique is a good way to add variation and sort of test your musical ability. And it also encourages creativity. But there are some cons to this technique. It can be hard to make your song flow well, especially if your knowledge of music theory and music structure is not that good. You need to know how your verse is going to work with your chorus, and you need to know how that's going to work melodically and harmonically. So if you're not used to that, then it's probably not the best workflow. But again, try it up and see how you go. And you run yourself the risk of creating two very different parts that don't work that well together. Now, to minimize that, I recommend starting with the chorus, copying it up, and then creating your verse from that. So changing things around, the chords, the progression, the instrumentation, and working like that. Instead of going, here's a chorus, now I'm going to create a verse. So I hope that made sense. So that's the building blocks technique. In the next video, we're going to be looking at the MIDI skeleton technique, which is largely different from this, but still a pretty cool workflow as well. So I'll see you then.